You open your laptop, you're going to work today. You told yourself that. You have the time, you have the idea, you even have the energy. At least you did an hour ago. But now you're just sitting there, switching tabs, checking your phone, maybe making tea you don't actually want. And somewhere in the back of your head, a thought creeps in. Why am I like this? Why can't I just do the thing? And if you've been in that loop long enough, you start calling it laziness. You start thinking something is wrong with you, that other people have something you don't. Maybe you're just not built for this. But what if that's not what's happening? What if laziness was never the real problem? Here's something nobody tells you when you're stuck. The brain doesn't resist hard work. It resists confusion. When you sit down to create and nothing comes out, most people assume they need more motivation, more discipline, a better morning routine, a stricter schedule. So they go looking for those things. They watch videos about productivity, they redesign their workspace, they download a new app. And somehow they're still stuck in the same place, because the problem was never energy. The problem was direction. Think about it this way. Imagine I tell you, run. You'd probably ask, where? And if I just said, just run, stop being lazy, stop overthinking, you'd stand there. Not because you can't run, but because you don't know where you're supposed to go. That's what unclear work feels like from the inside. Your brain isn't refusing to move, it's waiting for a direction that makes sense. And the cruel part? When you can't move, you don't think, I need more clarity. You think, I need more willpower. So you beat yourself up. You call yourself lazy. You feel guilty for resting when you technically have things to do. And that guilt, it makes the confusion worse. That's the misdiagnosis. And most of us have been living inside it for years. Now, let's talk about what clarity actually means. When I say clarity, I don't mean having your entire life figured out. I don't mean knowing your 5-year plan. I don't even mean knowing if what you're making is good. Clarity, in the way I'm talking about it, is something much smaller. It's just knowing the next move. That's it. Not the whole staircase, just the next step. Let me show you what unclear work actually looks like, because I've lived this. You want to make a video, or write something, or build a project, or start the thing you've been thinking about for months. And in your head, the vision is there. Vague, but there. But when you sit down, you realize you don't actually know. What exactly am I making? Who is this for? Where do I even start? What does done look like? Is this even worth making? And your brain, trying to be helpful, starts answering all of them at once. Which means it answers none of them. So you freeze, and then you leave. And then you come back tomorrow and do the exact same thing. That's not laziness. That's a clarity problem wearing a laziness costume. Here's what I've noticed about the moments I actually do the work. It's not when I feel motivated. It's not when I've had the perfect morning. It's when I know exactly what I'm doing for the next 20 minutes. Not the whole project, not the whole vision. Just this, right now, this one thing. That's the difference. Clarity doesn't make the work easier. It just makes it startable. Okay, now that we know what clarity actually means, let's talk about what keeps us away from clarity. So if clarity is the fix, why don't we just get clear? Why do we keep sitting in the fog? I think there are a few reasons, and none of them are about being lazy. The first reason, you're carrying too many open loops. An open loop is anything your brain is holding on to but hasn't resolved. The video idea you haven't committed to yet, the project you said maybe to, the thing you want to start but haven't decided if you're actually starting. Every open loop takes up mental space, and when your mind is full of unresolved maybes, there's no room left to focus on the thing in front of you. You're not unfocused because you're weak. You're unfocused because your brain is genuinely full. The second reason, you're confusing thinking about work with doing work. This one's subtle, and I fell into it for a long time. Researching your idea feels productive. Planning your project feels productive. Organizing your notes, building your mood board, watching tutorials, all of it feels like progress. And sometimes it is. But a lot of the time, it's just a more comfortable version of not starting. Because thinking about the thing doesn't require you to be judged by it yet. The work is still perfect inside your head. The moment you make it real, it becomes something that can fail. The third reason, and this one's the deepest, you don't know what you're actually trying to make. Not the format, not the topic. I mean, why? What this thing means to you, what you're trying to say, what kind of creator or maker you're trying to become. And when you don't have that, every decision feels heavy. Every choice feels like it could be wrong. Because without a clear why, there's no filter for what's worth doing and what isn't. Everything feels equally important and equally unclear. These aren't character flaws. They're just problems that haven't been named yet, and unnamed problems are impossible to solve. Okay, so how do you actually get clarity? I'm not going to give you a 10-step system. I'm going to give you 3 questions that have actually helped me, and I think they'll help you too. Question number 1. What is the smallest version of this I could actually finish today? Not the best version, not the full version. The smallest version that still counts as done. If you want to make a video, the smallest version is a rough script, or even just a clear outline. If you want to start a project, the smallest version is 1 page, 1 section, 1 defined piece. Your brain doesn't resist small things. It resists vague, large, unfinished feeling things. When you shrink the task until it's specific, something changes. It becomes real. It becomes doable. It becomes startable. Question number 2. What decision am I avoiding that's keeping me stuck? Most creative paralysis isn't a productivity problem. It's an unmade decision sitting in the middle of the road. You're not stuck on the work. You're stuck on, should this be a video or a post? Should I go deep or keep it simple? Should I even make this at all? And the longer that decision sits there, the more energy it drains. Every time you sit down to work, you hit the same wall. The work isn't the problem. The unmade decision is. So find it, name it, make the call, even if it's imperfect. A wrong direction you can adjust is better than no direction at all. Question number 3. What does done actually look like? This one sounds obvious. It isn't. A lot of stuck creators, myself included, have been working toward a finish line they've never actually defined. When will this video be ready to post? When will this project be complete? When will I feel good enough to share it? If you haven't answered that, your brain has no way to know when to stop refining, so it just keeps going, or it just keeps avoiding. Define done. Not perfect, not impressive, just done. This is done when I have a script under 10 minutes. This is done when I've written the first draft, not edited, just written. This is done when I post it, not when it gets views. A defined finish line changes everything. It gives your brain a target, and brains work really well with targets. There's one more thing I want to say, and it's maybe the most important part. A lot of us call ourselves lazy because it feels safer than admitting the truth, which is, we're scared. Scared the thing we make won't be good enough. Scared that if we actually try and it fails, we can't pretend anymore that we just never got around to it. Laziness is a story that protects us. If I'm lazy, I haven't failed. I just haven't tried. But clarity forces you to try. And trying means the thing becomes real. And real things can disappoint you. I'm not saying this to make you feel called out. I'm saying it because I've been there. I spent a long time not making things and telling myself it was because I wasn't organized enough, or motivated enough, or ready enough. But underneath all of that, I was just afraid of making something that didn't match what I imagined it could be. And here's what I've learned. The gap between what you imagine and what you make, that gap doesn't close by waiting. It closes by making things. Imperfect things, messy things, things that don't match the vision. Because every time you finish something, even something small, your brain learns that it can. And slowly, the fear gets quieter and the clarity gets easier. So, if you've been sitting with something, an idea you haven't started, a project you keep postponing, a version of yourself you keep saying you'll become when you're ready, I want you to try something before you close this video. Just answer this one question. What is the smallest version of this I could actually do today? Not the best version, not the finished version, just the smallest real thing.